fantastic day we're having here in Vermilion, Ohio. Hey, let's talk a little business. Welcome to the show, guys. Iron and Stone Strength. If you guys checked them out yet, ironandstonestrength.com, you got to head over to their website, check them out. These guys are fantastic. They are making gear for us strongman type people. So if you haven't checked them out, head on over there. They got some really cool gear, t-shirts, hats, sweatpants, sweatshirts, the whole 9 yards, made by people in the sport. Okay, they just held a strongman competition this weekend. Guys, go out and support these people. You know, Shane Rickman was talking on a podcast the other day about he'll go all the way across town to a guy who has a car wash on the other side of town just to support those people. Go and support these sponsors. They are doing good things by us, and hopefully if you like the show, they're doing good things by you. Check out Iron and Stone Strength. Use the code REFINEDSAVAGE at checkout. Buy a bunch of hats and shirts. These guys have really cool gear, and they are big supporters of the show. Give them a holler. Now, Stay Classy Meats. This company is out of control. Bozeman, Montana. These guys are fanatical about meat, just like I am. They are shipping meat from Bozeman. The farms are right there in Montana, so you're not getting meat from some weird place and then getting it shipped to Bozeman and then out to you. These guys can go around, check out the farms, check out the way these animals are being treated, how they're being raised, how they're being butchered. Hey, some of you out there don't eat meat. I get that. This ad isn't for you. If you're like me and you eat primarily meat, or if you eat meat from time to time, but you still care about animals and the way they're taken care of, this is the company for you. Stay Classy Meats. StayClassyMeats.com. Use the code SAVAGE at checkout for 10% off. You can go there and check out their different box options that they have. You can get small box, medium box, the elite package. They send it right to your house. Last one I got was the elite package. It was 35 pounds of the best meat I've ever had. I promise you. Check them out today. SeriousSteel.com. If you are outfitting a home gym, a commercial gym, a CrossFit box, a company gym, anything like that, these are the guys to check out. Serious Steel has all the same stuff that the big companies do and none of the attitude. Really great folks. I love their stone sleeves. So all you stone lifters out there who are tired of having to put tacky on your forearms and then wash it off 10 minutes later, these are the thing for you. You just put the tacky on the sleeves. When you're done, you slap the sleeves together, put them in a Ziploc bag, and they're ready to go the next time you want to lift stones. Protect your arms. They also have some of the best bands I've ever tried. Check these guys out. SeriousSteel.com. Use the code SAVAGE at checkout for 10% off. Warrior CBD. I stopped taking Warrior CBD for like 3 nights last week where I forgot to take it. I just forgot. And I had some of the shittiest sleep I've had in months. You don't realize what you have until it's gone. I'm back on the train, man. Warrior CBD oil. I use the 1,000 milligram full spectrum THC version. Put it under my tongue right before bed. Good night. Wake up in the morning refreshed. Their roll-on for muscle aches and joint soreness is the best. You just roll it on like a stick of deodorant and then rub it in with your hands. It will make your joints and muscles feel fantastic. They also have the CBD oil for your dogs. I know a lot of people have tried CBD oil for their dogs around here in the Ohio area. The problem is, dum-dums, there's not THC in that, okay? So basically what you're doing is just putting garbage oil under your dog's tongue, okay? Give them Warrior CBD oil for pets. It'll lower their anxiety. They won't be worried about thunderstorms anymore or fireworks. I'm telling you, this stuff works. I've seen it work on my parents' dogs who are total assholes, and it works really well. WarriorCBDofficial.com. Use the code WARRIOR20 off at checkout. Cerberus Strength. Cerberus has some of the best products in the game. They have everything you need for your strength journey. You Highland Games guys out there, they have the best knee sleeves and elbow sleeves around. Get the 7mm kind. They allow you to move a little bit, but still give you enough support. They have tacky. So if you need tacky for you strongman types or Highland Games guys, they have some great tacky that they sell. They also sell sandbags. So their sandbags are super awesome. So they have these sandbags that you can lift, and they have smaller ones for throwing with the handle on them. So if you guys have thrown at the Arnold before, need something to train with, this is the brand to get with. Cerberus Strength. Check out their throwing sandbags. They're great for indoor Highland Games training. I highly recommend them. You can fill them to whatever weight you want. Give them a holler. Cerberus-strength.us. Use the code REFINESAVAGE10 at checkout. Finally today, Viking Coffee. Viking Coffee. Evan Armstrong is in the room. He is brewing coffee. He is roasting beans. He's making crazy Instagram videos. You got to check this guy out. It's the best coffee in the game. You're going to drink coffee anyhow. You might as well get good stuff. Store-bought coffee is shit. So is Starbucks. You got to get some real good, solid coffee, and Evan is making the best stuff around at Viking Coffee. VikingCoffeeCo.com. Use the code VikingCoffee10 at checkout. Make sure you get some of that Old Man Strength brew. It is the best around. Now, let's talk about today's show. We have on the show today Brooke Sousa, strongest woman on planet Earth. She's been on the show several times. She's a friend of the show. Fascinating conversation for all you people out there who are lamenting some of the aspects of strongman, and especially professional strongman in the U.S. She had some thoughts on that. I want you to check it out. Listen with an open mind. Tell me what your thoughts are, and I'll see you at the end. Brooke Sousa back on the show.
Hello again.
It's like the fourth time I think we've had you on, something like that.
Just a couple.
Yeah. We were just out there learning how to do heel turns because you're going to be throwing a giant fish apparently in Alaska.
Yeah. Not to be confused with rubber fist.
Yeah.
But yep, Alaska's coming up in less than 8 weeks now.
Which competition is that?
And that will be Strongest Woman in the World.
Which is the one you won last year?
Yes.
Okay. And that's run by who?
Strongman Corporation.
Okay. And then, so that one's in Alaska. And then
a month later, we've got USS Pro Women's World Championship.
Right.
Run by USS. And then 2 weeks later is America's Strongest Woman, run by Strongman Corporation. And 2 weeks later after that is official Strongman, World's Strongest Woman.
Who's that run by?
Official Strongman Games, I guess.
Jesus. You would think that you would have a little better planning on behalf of the organizations that might spread this out a little bit, or even better, combine a few of them.
Combining Strongest Woman in the World and America's Strongest Woman, those two, used to be combined, and then they separated them. And so that was kind of nice, but, looking at the schedule this year, I'm just kind of like, all right, that's a lot in a short amount of time. But when it's spread out, like last year, I competed over I had 6 shows in 9 months.
Wow.
And so you only had like a month to drop some competition weight, ramp it back up again. And that was like the whole entire cycle. And I didn't have an off season. So it's been nice that I had an off season after Arnold this year. And now looking at, I've got 4 shows in 8 weeks time.
Yeah.
So at least once it's done, it's done.
And it's a lot of traveling.
Right. So it's literally you be ready for the very first show and stay healthy in between each show out there after. You get as strong as you can for the first one and kind of like ride the roller coaster.
Well, that's how it was for Highland Games too, because we used to compete every weekend. So you tried to get as strong as you could and then ride it out for as long as you could. And it's not ideal, but you're having to compete every weekend. There's not much you can do about it.
I think they really want you to choose like what show you do. But as a pro strongwoman, there's only so many shows that especially a heavyweight strongwoman can do. There's other shows for lightweight and middleweight pro strongwomen that they can do.
Right.
Just go up a class. But for being a pro heavyweight strongwoman, there's not a lot. And those are the top shows for each federation.
Right.
So they want you to choose between federation, and it's just kind of like, I'm going to go where the money is, right? And you want to kind of like maintain your world ranking as well. So what are you going to do? And
one of the problems is not all the shows pay, right?
Right.
Which, to me, when the idea of, when I was flirting with Strongman and I was competing, I qualified once for Strongman Corps, and I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 times for USS, but I only went once. It was brought up to me that there's this new Masters Pro class. Mm-hmm. And the first question was, what does that pay look like? And the answer was, well, we take care of your rooms and things like that. And I'm like, and I said flat out, I said, look, that's not pro. Mm-hmm. That's, you want me there, you pay for all that stuff anyhow, and you pay prize money on it. So now, if I don't win any prize money, that's one thing, but you have to pay.
Right. Which is lacking in the pro women's side, but
is it lacking in the pro men's side too?
You wonder, but when I hear people have at least flights and hotel paid for, I'm like, okay, food, you totally get that. You're going to eat anyway. Prize money, sure, it depends on if you place high enough, right? I understand those, but what is the difference between being just a regular competitor and a pro? And there's a lot of conversations about this topic, and I think for me this year, I just had to really step back and be like, look, if I'm paying for it all out of my pocket anyway, and this is not what pays my bills, which shows am I going to do, and how can I go about them where, okay, what's my travel look like, mm-hmm. and how much am I investing, not only in my own body to get there, but investing in my travel to be there as well.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that especially in shows like Norway and things like that, there's a decent crowd involved, right? I mean, the people coming out to watch you guys.
I think there would be a decent crowd if it was promoted better.
Okay.
They're not.
Yeah.
The shows, and I think it starts with the federation. When you get your athletes hyped up about the information, it makes them want to post on social media.
Sure.
It's a lot of time out of my schedule to find, okay, well, how am I going to find a picture to where's the information going to come from about this show, so I can educate the people who follow me, who can't do this sport themselves, but they want to be a part of it. They want to watch the journey. They want the live feed that is not provided, or it's broken up, and they can't watch. Well, that means it falls on me to make sure my videos are posted so people can still be part of the journey.
Yeah.
So the biggest show, and probably the funnest I've ever had at, was the USS Pro Women's World last year. It was on Beale Street, so it forced people to show, mm-hmm. They just stopped.
Yeah.
And it made people watch. It's not like, okay, we're in some convention center on Long Beach that cost $75 to get in, and who knows how, it was a $1,000 hotel.
Right.
And so how do we get, and I had clients still drive out to watch me there. Yeah. And, it was cool that they came, but we could have how many hundreds more people show up if it was in a very visible place. So,
thinking outside the box here, the reason why Highland Games get such a crowd is because it's involved with a festival.
Festival, right.
So why not ingratiate yourself with a festival, even a Highland Games festival? Mm-hmm. There's plenty of, Strongman was invented in Scotland. So get in with one of these festivals. You're already going to have people paying the gate. So you up the gate a few bucks, mm-hmm. and send that money to your athletes.
I think Strongest Woman in the World is part of the fair in Alaska. Mm-hmm. Only the way I know this information is because my online client lives out there, and she's like, that's the same weekend. It's in the same city, so we are just assuming, because us athletes don't know.
Right. Is it in Wasilla?
Palmer.
Okay.
So here she is driving 16 hours to go 200 miles to come watch.
Wow.
But it's like, okay, that's really cool. And then I'm bringing 10 people with me, because I'm like, okay, well, how do we grow the sport and the spectators if
what
we
do you mean you're
bringing
10 people?
I have a lot of clients that are like, well, since you're going, we're going to go too.
Okay, you're not fitting the bill to bring 10 people to Alaska. I was like, holy shit.
Otherwise, be bringing my kids.
It's like a Kanye entourage or something.
No, but it's like, if you're already headed somewhere, why not let other people be a part of your journey?
Have you been to Alaska yet?
Never been. Never thought I'd go. And
it's amazing.
Now the opportunity's here. So
it's actually this weekend, I believe, that we're recording this. I went in 2009, I believe, to the Alaska Highland Games. Mm-hmm. And, just flying in, and you fly over the ice fields, and it looks like, Empire Strikes Back. It's just like this desolate, it's ice as far as the eye can see, and the terrain is amazing, and you actually see elk and moose. Wow. and I didn't see any bear, but a lot of the guys did when they were out fishing, and It's a whole different
I think
world.
that's what's fun about competing is like it gets you to go to cities that you never would go before. But in a sport that makes no money, it's kind of like, can we go to places that's more affordable? But I think Alaska's way cheaper. It's costing me like a third of what Long Beach did.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that you can go to somewhere new and like get the experience.
I think you're right though on something like on Beale Street, or USS did do
Louisville, right?
What's that?
Where was that?
Louisville. That was the one I went to.
Because I'm like, it just forces people to stop and watch and like
drinking and yelling for you. They don't know what's going on, but everybody's having a good time. And now I don't know what that looks like admission wise because you can't close the street down, and make people pay. But there are options. I like the festivals because people are going to pay at the gate anyhow.
My thing is like, does it really matter how much you're bringing in with spectators when you're charging $130 per competitor?
Wait.
470
Wait.
people.
They don't charge you guys. Do they charge the pro women?
Oh yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. They charge you to compete in a pro show.
I didn't have to pay for because I won last year, but otherwise yes.
How many women compete?
It just depends. I think in Norway there was like 22 of us maybe.
So let me get this straight before we go any further. 22 women, and they each paid
$100
to compete in the pro strong. It's not pro. I hate to tell you guys this. You're the best women in the world, but you're not pros.
It was nice that our resort and food was taken care of over in Norway. But I don't think there's anything like that set up for Alaska.
Professional means you're doing it for money.
Yeah.
God, that so irritates me.
And that's the thing, like, it's not going to be what pays your bills, but just to be compensated something. I mean, obviously we're all doing this for the love of the game.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a point where
you should absolutely not have to pay an entry fee. Mm-hmm. You should absolutely have some part of your travel. I mean, they don't have to pay the whole thing, but they should give you a stipend for travel and hotel, and then there should be prize money based on. And even if let's say they do invite 20 women to compete. Now my thinking is there are 20 women, you pay all 20, but I've competed at competitions where you had to be in the top 10. But then those top 10 got money,
mm-hmm.
There's ways to do this. There are sponsors out there who will put money on the line, and it's very easy. We get 3 or 4 sponsors every year for our Highlander, and they sponsor every year, and they're more than happy to do it.
I think it's the relationships with those sponsors, mm-hmm. and I think it's taking the time and either delegating someone to go out and get those sponsors for you, for the federation, and because I have no problem getting them for myself.
Absolutely right.
I have no problem getting myself my own mm-hmm. business. Nobody's doing that marketing, but if you look at, instead of charging a spectator fee at a wide open street festival or whatever, look at that as your marketing cost.
Absolutely.
Somebody's going to see you. I love drawing the crowd in. I love, I will never forget the little boy I met last year who was there on family vacation. And I just picked on him. I was just kind of like, hey, you want to go deadlift this for me? He, couldn't pick up a single, not even a pencil. But, he thought it was cool. And the experience I was able to give him and his family.
They remember that.
And they still follow me on, it's cool that, cool, you see me on social media still.
Yeah.
You can stay in contact with those kind of people that you meet. And the thing is, whether it be a family or older couple who gets to watch something that they've never seen before, or the new athlete that you might have just inspired. Mm-hmm. And that's where the payoff is.
Yes.
So if you have 475 people sharing on their social media page, out to how many thousands of people, there's your payoff.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to do it all for the dollar. I don't work for the dollar, so I don't see how... you got to have those times where this is just part of the job or part of the competition.
Well, it's your job to be an entertainer, for
mm-hmm.
sure. Because that's what brings people to the dance. But if you're bringing people to the dance and you're not seeing any part of that, then you're just doing it out of the goodness of your heart, which mm-hmm. is fine too. But that only lasts so long when you have bills to pay.
Yeah. And you sacrifice absolutely everything, to stay in the game.
And I mean, who pays your medical bills if you blow a bicep tendon or something,
Mm-hmm. That's a good point right there, and that's exactly why it's important to train smart. And for me, it's not always about being first place because, yeah, you're one injury away. And it's all about getting as far as you can without putting the miles on your body.
Yes, absolutely.
So don't put the pressure on me about what I should be doing or where I need to be when there's, like today, going over the toss. Like, never done it before. Am I going to stress out about how perfect it is or how well and how far I can throw something? Like, no, I'm going to do whatever my body is going to allow me to do without putting any wear and tear on me.
It was pretty cool. You learned to do a heel turn in probably 15 minutes, and Zach Pape was a big help getting you in positions. And I think it'll be a big help. This will probably come out after that competition, so no one will know your secret training program. But hopefully that'll be a big difference in distance-wise, because I think a lot of the girls won't have access to someone who can teach them how to do heel turns. So
I know. It's like you always have to come back and be like, okay, back to the drawing board. Where can I get
I love the fact that they're doing it, though, because that's part of Alaska. It reminds me of the old World's Strongest Man, where you would do kind of ethnic, quote-unquote, feats of strength based on where
and
you were.
And I miss those things. And we have a dog sled drag as part of one of our events. And to me, I'm like, that's exciting because that, to me, is what Strongman is. It's like the weird implements, and that's why I got into it. It gets boring when you're doing the same events over and over again, or it doesn't line up with like a theme of the atmosphere around you.
Yeah.
So I am looking forward to that show.
That's very much like the way old World's Strongest Man. And I miss watching that. It's kind of become so sanitary and regulated now. The athletes are way better. It just, I don't think the competitions are quite as entertaining as they used to be.
Yeah.
And my question is, so 3 years ago, the Women's World Championships were always held in Phoenix, Arizona, Mesa, Arizona, I believe. And they would do the same thing. They would just kind of pay their hotels or something, And I was always, my wife was a Highland Games athlete, and I was a pro, and it always irritated me that women like Adrienne Wilson, who was a 5-time world champion, never made any money. And I don't know what the hell that noise is.
Her toy.
Huh?
Her toy ball.
Oh, she's down
Squeaky.
here. Oh, there's some strange squeaky noise going on. Anyhow, I bet you Todd's out there. So the Women's World Championships was always held there. And then they were always paying their hotel room, maybe their flight. And then one year they just said, we're not going to pay you this year. And they still expected everyone to come out. Well, a couple of the girls were kind of talking to me about it at a strongman competition. And I said, well, I could come up with that money. Why don't we just have worlds? And I asked them the same question I'll ask you. If someone came up with the money and they weren't involved with Strongman Corps, USS, or Giants Live, and just said, this is worlds, and we're paying $10,000 in prize money, and we're going to invite the top 10 girls, do you think the top 10 women would show up?
That's a very good question, and we've had this conversation recently with Paul Mauser, and Kristen Rhodes tried putting on a show too. It was going to be part of, I think, a festival out in California, and then Paul's tried doing it down in West Virginia, and they will have $5,000, I think is what one of Paul's shows, and then and recently he had prize money for each event. Basically, I think if you set like a record on yoke carry and maybe block over bar, and still nobody showed up.
The women didn't show up for the money?
And so even, I think there's just like 2 of us that had committed to the show in June with Kristen Rhodes, and she had to pull that out because she couldn't get enough people to commit.
That's really odd. You'd think that they would show up.
Yeah, it's hard because people obviously want the top show, so they think like, oh no, like I'm not going to do, Arnold. Well, let me see here. I'll turn around, like where I've seen people like, I'm not going to do World's Strongest Woman with official Strongman games because I'm going to save it for Arnold.
Yeah. And now, does Arnold pay?
For the pro class, yes, but not amateur.
Gotcha.
And so I was like, but ladies, like, look at this. Like, as an amateur, World's Strongest Woman, or pro even for that matter, trumps the other competitions and other federations. Because whoever thinks that they're strong is going to do the online qualifier and show up to World's Strongest Woman.
Right.
Now, and it doesn't matter what federation you compete in. And so it's just still like blows my mind, like how, you know, I've seen people pull out of Arnold Pro Women's show just to go do other shows that were paying money, because why do all that wear and tear on your body for 5 events when you could go make a guarantee $5,000 over here?
Right.
So
yeah, my thinking always was, and we did this in Highland Games too, because there were a couple different world championships, especially towards I think by the time I retired, there were 3 world championships. And it was kind of the same thing. So there was always the SGA World Championships, which I always thought was run poorly. That was the actual in Scotland. I thought that they should take over and make this a real World Championships instead of just saying, oh, anybody can come and whoever wins is the world champion. And then there were 2 federations in the United States that had 3 guys running it. They got into an argument, split up. 2 guys went one way, 1 guy went the other. So now we have 3 world championships. But my philosophy was always, if I call something the World Championships and I get the money to make it a World Championships and I've got the most money, it becomes the World Championships because you get the top 10 people there competing for money. And I think all people have to realize is you know, I don't know who owns what title, but if I call it the Intergalactic World Championships or whatever, as long as I've got the money and you win against the top 10 women, you're the best.
Right. And that's how I see it. But there's a lot of like controversy out there. And like, okay, well, XYZ wasn't there. So therefore, you really aren't the strongest. And it's like, okay, well, if they thought they were, then they would have showed up.
And I think if you put enough money, there's no reason why they wouldn't show up.
And it's like Arnold, you know, unfortunately, the way it's set up, it's like, you know, they talked about having like the strongest woman there at that show, and it's like, well, there isn't, you know, and just because of how you have to qualify and only taking the top 2.
How do you qualify for that?
Like this year it'll be strongest woman in the world.
Okay.
And then I think for other weight classes, that will be for the heavyweights. For other weight classes, it will be different shows for them to go to throughout the world.
And now, and I'm a little ignorant on how things work. Is Giants Live the major one in Europe? Is that how they like?
That's
how does
right,
like?
Pro Man.
Is that how it works over there? The Giants Live, like that's where Thor and them all compete over there. And they do one show in North Carolina. Is that?
That would be official Strongman Games that puts it on down in North Carolina.
Okay, that's not
this year.
A Giants
it's going
Live
to be in
event.
Daytona.
Okay. So I'm just trying to piece together how the Europeans don't have all these issues that we have over here, you know?
Yeah.
So Strongman was invented in Scotland, and Dougie Edmonds was a big part of that. But I think that's the reason why those guys get paid over there, because Dougie, that was always just part of the dance. Dougie was a Highland Games world champion. Him and Dave Webster kind of invented World's Strongest Man, and I think it was just expected that these are the top athletes in the world. Let's pay them. And my guess is when they had World's Strongest Man with World's Strongest Woman, when like Jill Mills won, I'm pretty certain she got paid a good deal of money. I wouldn't imagine it would have been any different than the men.
Yeah, I don't know what the numbers were back then.
Yeah, interesting.
But I know, like, for the Arnold show, like, our prize money's been the same the last 3 years.
Is it decent? What do you get if you win?
$10,000 for and it's split over, like, the top 6, I think.
Okay, so, but that's not bad for a start. I mean, it's nowhere near what the men get, but it's not bad for a start. I think we did 10,000 over, and we had 8 women at World Championships. But again, 10,000 was Mark Valenti going out and get sponsors from local people around the county. So, I mean, Rogue and the Arnold can do a lot better than that. But some of these smaller ones, 10,000, like, I guarantee if Chris Vaccio wanted to put on World's Strongest Woman, he could pull that money in no problem. And it would be a good run show. And
I think it's just having that time and the connections and being willing to put yourself out there to represent whatever you need to get that money.
Yeah, you have to actually be the face of the sport. And we've talked about this before, and sometimes it sounds negative, but there's problems. There's issues that need to be dealt with, and if nobody ever deals with them, nobody ever talks about them, nothing ever gets done about them.
And I think that's what's happening is like, for us women, we're, I think, frustrated. And I think that's where just a lot, one, there's a lot that have fallen out because of injury, and then two, it's just like, well, where's the money?
Yeah. Is there situations where money's promised and you show up and it doesn't show up with you?
Oh yeah. That happened to me last year.
I'd be in a fist fight. Yeah. And you know what? That would have been a just a known fact among pro Highland games. If you say that you're going to pay us a certain amount and you don't pay that amount, you're going to have to deal with a bunch of angry athletes. There's no, oh, we just didn't get the money.
It definitely changes your perspective and how much you're willing to give of yourself when
you'd have to.
They don't follow through. Yeah. Which is hard because it's like, that's been a big transition for me. And it's like, where do you go now with it?
Yeah. I can't even imagine that. That's horrible. I would like to see someone like Vaccio, who really runs a good comp. Everything I heard about the last Nationals was that Vaccio did an outstanding job running everything.
Oh my gosh, he did. Especially for that many athletes.
It was like 474 or something.
Right, and the fact that he had all of his volunteers right where he needed and how fast we ran through every event.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps the athletes, because you don't need it to be a 16-hour day. And
no, God, no.
And just like how on top everybody was and the communication. And I'm sure he was, overwhelmed, just wanting everything to go perfect, like your wedding day or something.
Sure, right.
You would never have seen all the things that were behind the scenes with what he probably had to deal with at the end. Because it was just a well-run show.
And every... And shout out to Chris, because everyone I talked to has praised him for making that show what it was and making sure that it ran smoothly. And 400 plus
the stuff
athletes.
To have the warm-up and the warm-up area to having, Dr. Todd on site and Becky Wilson. And it's like, hey, athletes need to be taken care of and don't just cut corners.
Yeah. We talked to the McCanns after... the Louisville USS Strongman Nationals, and you could see the toll it took on them.
Oh, yeah.
And the lack of appreciation and people being assholes to them, and not so much the athletes, but other people involved. And you could, I don't remember. I remember the McCanns, but I don't remember the wife's name. But she was in tears the next morning because of the stress of it all. And it's a lot of money that comes out of these promoters' pockets. Even with 400 plus athletes, I don't know how much that actually goes to the promoter as opposed to the federation. And I'm sure Chris had to shell out a ton of cash.
I believe he did. And the fact of, he still works a full-time job.
Right.
I was just like, geez, Chris, how many hours did you take vacation time just to put this on?
Sure.
Like, he sacrificed, and of course his family.
Yeah.
Just for him to be able to host a show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that expectation of every year, it's like, okay, when Davey McCann did it, was like 275, I think, athletes.
300.
300, okay.
Yeah.
And, growing by another 175, well, what's next year? Who's going to be able to host 1,000? You know what I mean? And it's just like, it comes down like, that's a lot of pressure.
And let's face facts with that too. You should never have a nationals with 300 plus athletes. And guys, when I say this, it's not meant to piss anybody off at all. It's not a cut on you guys. Novices should never qualify for nationals. It just shouldn't happen. You're a novice, get up into an open class. I'm okay with placing top 3, kind of. I'd like to see you have to win, unless the guy above you is already qualified, and then breaking it down. But novices should never qualify.
You're just risking yourself for injury.
And you haven't paid your dues yet. Mm-hmm. Go up and compete in the open class. It's nationals. You could go from winning a novice class to being top in the nationals, and you never really beat. The other thing is that's tough, and this is again not the athlete's fault. Is you can qualify. I qualified for my first nationals by not beating anybody. I was the only master in the class, so he was like, "Guess what? You qualify for nationals." I'm like, "What? You qualify for nationals?" But all that stuff.
I know the Strongman Corp has changed that a lot.
That was a Strongman Corp nationals. Was the first one I qualified for. I didn't even know what that was.
Now, you just, depending on the level of the show, you either have to be first or.
Yeah, I quote unquote won because I was the only guy in the class, and then they said, "Oh yeah, nationals is in 2 weeks." I was like, "What?" And then I looked at the weights, and I'm like, "I can't lift any of those weights, so I'm not going." Yeah, there's a lot of, but again, if you have a nationals where you go from 300, 400 athletes down to maybe 100, that's a lot of money that you're losing, but. Yeah, there's a lot of problems, a lot of issues with it, and hopefully people will come together, and I think it'll take the athletes coming together to rectify those and being a squeaky wheel,
Mm-hmm.
So
agree.
Hopefully you guys will do that. You guys should get some kind of union formed or something where you can work together. Somebody out there, Sean Shoemaker and Chris Vaccio, get together and hold women's worlds next year and pay these guys, and I'll help you. I'll come score some prize money for you somewhere. We'll make it happen.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So up next for you is Alaska.
Correct.
And then where after that?
Texas.
That's the one with the keg toss for height we need to work on, right?
Yeah.
We're in Texas.
Austin.
Have you been to Austin before?
No, my brother lives in Houston, so I'm going to.
You're gonna see them. Love Austin.
All right. I think I'm picturing that it'll be just as cool of a show that they did with Beale Street.
Is it like going to be in downtown or something?
I'm hoping. I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping that I'm not going to be let down by the atmosphere with USF.
Well, Austin is one of those towns like Key West or
really?
Like New Orleans, where it's this these
good feel, huh?
It's a good feel. It's a very liberal place in the middle of this redneck area like Key West is or New Orleans, and it's just super liberal and everyone's really cool and the music's wonderful and it's kind of a hippie vibe, and yeah, you'll love it. It's one of my favorite places.
Oh, never been.
Yeah, you'll dig it for sure. And then what's after that?
And then I'm home for 10 days.
Yeah.
And then I will be going down to Miami for America's Strongest Woman. And then I'll be home for maybe a week.
Yeah.
And I will be back down in Daytona for World's Strongest Woman.
Who runs the one in Miami? Is it?
That will be Strongman Corporation.
I wonder if that's Michael down there from Battle Axe Gym who's running that one. I'll have to figure it out. Battle Axe Gym, for those people in Miami, is a fantastic little strongman gym. We went down there, and the guy was cool enough. Michael, I always say his name wrong. DePlava, that's not correct, but I texted him and said, "Hey, we're coming to Miami. We're going to be there. I'm not sure what day, but it's this week." And then I texted him a couple days before. I said, "Hey, we're going to be there on Thursday." He's like, "Oh man, I won't be there, but I'll leave the gym open for you."
Nice.
So me and Aaron just walked in, turned the lights on, got a workout in, and left him a drop-in fee, which he didn't even ask for. But it was he's a very, very good guy down there, and it's a good gym. So if you're down there in the Miami area, check out Battle Axe. It's awesome. What's going on with training? How's Ludus Magnus going?
My own training or the
Either
gym
one.
training?
I watch a lot of your videos.
My training, it's so nice to have an off season and to just reset my mind. I think this year I'm really looking at these competitions as balance for life. The last 4 years, that's all I did was keep my head down and just do everything that I was told.
Yeah.
And I think being, after last year and all that happened with competitions and winning and just knowing like, okay, it's cool for a moment, but how do you continue this and not ruin relationships, and how to build new ones, how to be a better mom and balance.
You have kids too, and
yeah, and so For me, it's just showing that, I'm testing the waters of like, okay, well, I know sleep's important, but, maybe can I get away with not having a nap today and still train good tonight?
Right.
Or can I be out in the sun and still have a good training session? So just messing with the waters a little bit there. Yeah. And I think that's going to help me coach my other athletes better, because I can't tell somebody who works, 4 10-hour shifts, hey, you need to go home and sleep 10 hours at night, and then you need to have a 5-hour nap during the day. And it's like, I think we all just want to be the best we can each be, and not necessarily like you don't need to always go for being the best of the best.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm selling myself short or anything. It's just knowing that, okay, I did that. I'm here. I see where, the highest payoff of sacrificing everything really has gotten me. And now I'm just kind of like, okay, it's important that I continue, living my life.
Yeah.
Now that my business has grown so much and online coaching has taken off, it's making sure that, I get to travel the way I like to. And it's convenient to just pack up and go, or having the kids home this summer and spend time with them. So
where did you just go? You just got back from somewhere, didn't you?
I've kind of just been all over the place lately. Yesterday, Cincinnati, just to check out downtown Cincinnati.
I was down there yesterday.
Oh,
we should have lunch or something.
Yeah. I was like, that Yard House restaurant sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Rode the Ferris wheel. Went to Nashville just to hang out in Nashville because I've never been.
I love Nashville.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so it's like taking little trips too. Mm-hmm. It doesn't always have to be something huge, but it was cool coming up here today. Yeah. And one of my online clients coming down and meeting me.
Did you know all those people were going to be here?
I brought 2 with me who are like online clients, and sometimes they come into Ludus.
Right.
I have a lot of dual clients that are either online or in person down in Columbus, just because if my schedule doesn't fit them, then I'm like, all right, you're an online client, but you can come in and check in with me anytime. Well, this new client met me at USS Nationals and saw me in Memphis last year too. They live up in Michigan.
Right.
So I was like, well, just meet me here halfway. Yeah. So they're like, okay. And they own a gym up there. And, it's just cool, like bringing everybody together. And just, I love when things like line up that way. And I think, that's where I've really enjoyed online coaching. As far as like, as soon as my off season started in May, I went down to Mississippi and I met a new client from Alabama down there. She had been with me for a year and wanted to compete. Another one from Louisiana came over and competed at the same show, and then I brought one down with me. And so it's just like, I love traveling. I get to do my job anywhere, and then to meet new people, and it all come together is pretty cool. Yeah,
if you were good at online coaching, which obviously you are, that's going to be it's going to fit so well with your lifestyle and getting away from being shackled to the gym or shackled to, you've got this magic box in your pocket that you can do majority of this stuff.
Yeah, because I can view people's workouts or answer questions. Yeah. And I like, too, that now I've really simplified it, too, by not having to check Messenger, email, text messages. It's all under one app.
Right.
And it's like, has really freed me up to my personal time.
Yeah. Our online programming is more, and I don't call it online coaching, it's online programming. It's more like I'm putting out a series of workouts, and so I put out what we do here at the gym every day. I put out a foundations program, basically how I would train my son. I put out the power program, which is exactly what I was doing when I was throwing in Highland Games, and then a pure one, which is for strongman athletes. And it's just like, if you want to do these programs, here they are. I don't charge very much money, but it's like, here's the program, and I'll help you. I can't coach. I don't like to do online coaching because I want to, like you're doing, be there and see them squat and see them bench and make sure they're doing it correctly. And that's not where I want to be. I want to be, hey, if you want to be part of this, here's the program. I'll answer any questions you have, but just join the fray, jump in the mix, So I call it programming instead of coaching. But it's some people, like my first ever client on that was a guy who was a pro football player, a pro strongman, and a pro Highland Games athlete. And he's like, "Would you do my programming for me?" And I'm like, "Why? Why would you need me to do your program?" He's like, "I like having a coach. I like someone to tell me what to do." Okay,
That's where I'm at.
no
I'm like,
problem.
I'm a coach that will always have one.
Yeah,
because
right.
like I still need someone to look out for me. So.
What's Matt been up to? Is he?
Oh, he's gone.
What do you mean? Is he gone? Where's he at now?
He just went on his Alaskan motorcycle trip.
Oh, is he? He's driving up there.
He flew to Seattle and then driving back.
How does he get? What is he? How does he get? Is he renting a motorcycle up there?
He had it shipped out.
Shipped it out. Okay.
Yep.
See, I'm ignorant of how motorcycle trips actually work. So.
So it's a good thing that I have my work consolidated because I will be covering the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the fire department. So.
Oh, you're doing those ones too, huh?
Yeah.
So you're really busting ass going into this competition.
So that's the thing. Like, I really need to know, not only with 4 competitions coming up, I had to get all my online clients, like, really organized. Because a lot of them haven't been through a competition cycle with me. So it's, my in the gym clients understand, okay, it becomes Brooke time.
Yeah.
And I got to focus. So it's making sure I had everybody's, program kind of like roughly like set of like where everybody has, whether they have competitions coming up, runs, or, they need to meet their own personal goals.
Yeah.
So having that structured, plus my girls both have their birthdays September 8th.
How old are they?
They will be 14 and 9.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so I have to make sure that their birthday parties are like, planned and ready to go, because again, you have to, the more, structured and organized you can be to go in the season, the better your athlete you're going to be.
We just talked about this with James Spurgeon about getting the most out of your day. And I just do, it's amazing how just putting a piece of paper by your seat in the living room and writing down what you have to do for tomorrow, and then being able to check things off, and just having an organized plan for the day, you become so much more efficient, and your life just runs a lot smoother, and you don't feel like a lazy bitch when you go to bed at night and forget to do 5 things that you should have done today. And
just live a more simple life too,
Right?
And it's like, I believe full-heartedly having the house, like, I do have OCD, and I have let a lot of it go, but also being a minimalist, and just having, things in its place.
Yeah.
And the kids know, like, to help me keep it organized or clean. Because I'm like, girls, if we live a busy lifestyle, we cannot just come home and dump and go.
Yeah.
And it just helps your mind. Like, when you're home, you can just totally relax and go into that mode versus like, oh my gosh, I have to clean that mess, or I have to go fix this project.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, just keep it simple.
We're getting ready. Well, not getting ready, but we're planning for a move in the future down to Florida. We've got probably 4 years left before we actually do it. But one of the things we've talked about is minimalizing everything and not taking anything with us that isn't absolutely necessary.
Absolutely.
And I started with my closets the other day. So I just went in, and anything that I hadn't worn in 6 months, I just threw in the Goodwill, And
That's my rule of thumb. It's like, if you haven't used it, worn it, touched it in 6 months, get rid of it.
Yeah. And I have no toys. Like, I have books and clothes. That's it, And
I even, like, for memory stuff, like with the girls, I've learned, like, I can't keep every piece of artwork, but I've learned to take pictures, and I've turned them into scrapbooks.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're like digital scrapbooks. All right. They won't get lost, torn, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't have to hold on to all that stuff.
Right.
And it's just like, it clutters your mind and your space. And people think, oh, I need a bigger house.
Yeah.
No, you don't need more.
Well, Erin's family is moving to Tennessee, and that's where she is at this weekend. They basically asked her to come up to declutter their lives because they have so much shit, and she's going through and finding old report cards, and it's like, why are you keeping this stuff? I'm 41 years old. So she's just throwing everything out. I think the more you
travel, the more you realize, like, how much crap we just have here in America and in your own home, and you're just like, no, I don't want any of this.
Right.
Give me experiences. And
absolutely,
I'm like craving right now, especially because my kids now, when you raise them to like unload dishwashers at 10 months old because they can hold themselves up to it.
Yeah.
You raise them to be independent, but I'm struggling big time with, like, okay, they're like doing their own thing, making their own plans. They're never home, and I'm just kind of like
14, especially. My son's 14. He's never home.
No, Zoe just got back from a month in Texas, and I'm just kind of like, she asked last week to stay an extra week. I'm like, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I've raised you to be independent. I'm home for you, and I love you, you don't need me to, you know, be attached to me. But it's like, oh, I'm just craving to live in like a 700 square foot home in Aruba right now, because that's what they do. Like, you have nothing because you're living all outside. Yeah. And having experiences.
Yeah, and that's when we were looking at moving, we're looking at houses that are tiny, tiny houses, because we just don't need all that stuff. And people accumulate garbage and
like, ooh, space, let's fill it.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
that will be so great for you guys.
I'm super psyched, and we'll do something. I mean, the podcast will still go on, and we'll do some kind of gym down there. But even in the gym, I'm having all these crazy ideas. Like, I am thinking way less bars and way more stones.
Well, that's how Ludus is. You know, it's like you can, if you build a gym correctly, even a home gym, you can find your key, you know, equipment. Yeah, they can do multiple things off of. You don't need all the frou-frou commercial gym.
When you're you know better than anybody. When you're lifting an Atlas stone to your shoulder, you are hitting every aspect of your body except for maybe the press. So I mean, you know, there's so much you can do with an Atlas stone as opposed to, you know, we don't need.
But it carries over to everyday living.
Yes, right.
You know, picking up awkward objects or.
I love Strongman for fitness. I just love it. It's what I'm good at. It's what I promote to my clients, and
I do a lot with my clients with it, just because I'm like, it's everyday stuff. If you need to pick up a 40-pound bag of dog food, or picking up your kid, carrying your kid.
Yeah, and it's a great sport, man. I tell you what, when I walked out of the studio this morning with James, and just looked at, and then, you know, we went for a run and we came back, and I'm just looking around, and you're working with your clients, and James is over there with Dollar Bill and Zach lifting natural stones, and your guys are lifted. It's just like, man, this is awesome. Yeah. You know, it was a great group in here today. I was super psyched to see everybody. But Strongman, man, it's if you're in it for the right reasons, there's no better sport. It's just the best. I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what else do you do besides Strongman? Like, what's going on at home? Are we dating? Are we?
Okay.
Last time we did this, I did this to you last time, and you said you had a crush on somebody, and I tried to push that
forward. God. When was this? March? Oh yeah, right around Arnold, right?
I think we actually talked about that the time before when you came up here. I don't think we talked about it when Matt was on.
Okay.
Any new developments?
Well, my personal life. Here we go.
Yeah, let's get into it. Dive deep. She's blushing. I'm loving this.
Well, I work, 6 hours a week, so I have a lot of free time, and like that's always the goal, is like to get, to the top of the sport, or to be successful in life, and then you're there, and you're just kind of like, oh shit, like it's just me, and like it's fine for like the last year, of like just working that little, and of course when the kids are in school, it's like I'm not working, and if I work an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening on Mondays and Thursdays, I'm just kind of like, okay, well, what to do with myself, and I got used to like just going out and doing things on my own. And this past week's been a very challenging week, because I'm just like, all right, well, now what? What's next? What can I do? And like I said, testing the waters of how much can I do. And then I was like, well, I really can't ride my bike anymore because of training.
You were doing that too.
And because it really killed a lot of my day. And entertaining myself. And I've learned. I mean, a lot of people are scared that I'm left alone because of what I find myself getting into. But whether it's a trip at Costco and the things that I find, or I ended up going kayaking instead, because I was like, all right, that's not as damaging as riding a bike. Yeah. But it's still like something I love doing.
There's no reason you can't be in shape too and be a strong woman.
It's just, I think it's where my energy goes. Like now I'm lifting in the evenings instead of the morning. If I lifted in the morning, at least all my energy went right to my workout. Right. Now and then I could just do whatever I wanted in the evening, basically. But now I'm trying to save that energy for my main lifts, and then so it's balance. Yeah. But that's, I guess, why me and 50-pound weight vest and 100-pound weight vest get along real well, because that chews up a lot of my time on my off days of just entertaining myself. But yes, I have been dating. Nice. Yeah, since February. So.
Same person or just dating in general?
No, I'm actually girlfriend.
All
That's
right.
so awkward to say.
I love it.
Yeah, after being married 14 years. So I stayed single the last 2 years. And
You were married for 14
yeah.
years? Wow, I didn't even know that.
yeah.
Well,
Got married
congratulations.
young.
Yeah, right? I told
That
people they
and-
should not be allowed to get married till they're 30.
I
Minimum.
100% agree with you. There's like just, you don't even know anything about
No,
yourself
no.
until you're 30. And the 30s have been my best years of life.
Yeah.
I've learned so much about myself traveling as I was, competing and going to Boston to train with my strongman coach once a month back in 2016. To now, it's like I still crave like where I have to get away at least once a month to just go on a drive.
I
To
hear
reflect
that.
on like where you want life to go and where you're at and evaluate everything. It's not me overthinking everything. It's just making sure that like I'm where I need to be and that I'm growing and not staying content. Like
Yeah.
I'm content in life, but I refuse to just get up, go to work, go home, go to bed.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, what can I do today? Like yesterday, if I was in Cincinnati, I'm like, oh, that's a Ferris wheel. That looks fun. And so I went ahead and did it
Yeah.
because I'm like, and you don't even care that it's $13 because
Yeah.
it's just like, money's going to be money.
Mhm.
You're always going to have bills. You don't have to wait for that once a year vacation.
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking for Key West airplane tickets the other day because I was like, oh, that just sounds so much fun to
I'm
just
going
go.
down by myself at the end of August.
Dude, that's awesome.
My wife's going on a trip with some girlfriends from college because she hadn't seen them in 15 years, and one's getting married, one just had a baby. So she's going for the weekend. She said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to Key West.
Yeah.
So just going down by myself. And
And that's the thing, like, all these little trips, like, do not have to cost a fortune.
Yeah.
Like, I still pack my own food. I'm not going crazy. And to me, gas money is just gas money.
I had a
So-
friend once tell me, and it's such a simple motto, but he said, I only have money to spend on goods and services. So it's like, I'm not going to save this. I'm going to spend it on things I need,
Yeah.
or I want to do. So, and it was just a kind of eye-opening, yeah, that makes sense. What am I saving this money for, as long as you have within reason, but go do stuff.
I know, that's always...
Spend the $13 to ride a Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Who cares?
And I used to get in trouble for always having, Starbucks.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, that's the highlight of my day, like, because I was not allowed spending the $5.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, I don't ever understand, like, why that was ever an issue when I'm the one who paid the bills before anyway. So it's like just having time just sitting there. And, in the UK, people sat and drank coffee.
Yeah.
They don't
yeah.
just run and go. And that's something I brought back to America with me, where I'm just like, no, I'm going to sit and enjoy my coffee.
Slow
And
down a
sometimes I
little bit.
might be stuck in my mind for like 3 hours watching people. And
Yeah.
other times I'm like, all right, well, maybe I should work.
It sounds like you got it figured out. I'm
Yeah.
psyched for you. I'm psyched for your upcoming competitions. I'm psyched to hear that you're dating. I think that's great. And balance, right? That's
Balance.
the key to everything.
It is.
Awesome. Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
I think we covered a lot.
Hit it all.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there. Our Highlander competition in August and our Odin's Challenge competition in January. It's not a lot of money, but we pay something. So
There it
and
is.
It's non-affiliated. So
Nice.
if you're a pro strongman or strong woman, give me a holler. We'll get you out there. All right, guys. This has been with Brooke Sousa. This has been the Refined Savage. See ya.